You probably have seen some of these lists. It makes me sick. It should make anybody sick. It should make Democrats sick, independents sick, Republicans sick. It makes anybody sick. $175 million to maintain unused building. $35 million to non-existent medical clinics. $3 million to play online video games. $2.5 million for a Super Bowl ad. $1.8 million for a neon sign museum. $1 million for environmental poetry at zoos. The insanity goes on and on and on. Somebody in Washington says, that's nice. You know? What a waste, and we wonder why we have an economic problem. And then step forward to turning this economy around has to do with the job-killing taxes. I was just in a radio debate today. As you may know, we had a debate with Janice Hahn set up at Loyola University, which she canceled. We had 5 debates we asked her for. She refused to do it. Then we went on this kind of softball radio thing on public radio for about 40 minutes, back and forth, where you couldn't really debate. But in that discussion, she kept talking about raising taxes. She kept talking about this craziness of what I call fantasy economics. And it is classic if you listen to this debate, because the person who was conducting the debate asked her, how much money do you need to pay for these 25,000 jobs? We'll stop the war in Afghanistan, and we'll have money. And yeah, you're going to stop the war in Afghanistan, have money, and the United States Congress is going to pump billions of dollars into this district. You know, there's no economic reality that goes on. It's fantasy economics. And part of that is this idea of the job-killing taxes. Oh, we got maybe over $200,000, unfair taxes, gotta suck it out. Ladies and gentlemen, small business owners such as myself, I may 1 month lose $200,000. I should say 1 year. Let's say 1 year I lose $200,000. The next year I make $300,000. I balance it out to maybe $100,000 in those 2 years. But I do that as an individual in my tax return. Millions of small business owners, they're taxed as individuals. And so when you see $200,000, $300,000, that's my money that I put into my company to hire jobs, to do research, to expand. And you suck that out, you suck out the engine of free enterprise. So President Obama wants $2 trillion in new taxes. These new taxes include taxes on 401ks, on IRAs, on charitable contributions. They'll kill charities. And one of the great things about America is how we give. We help people in need voluntarily. My wife and I, we're involved with a thing called the Dream Center in Los Angeles, if you know what that is. And they work in human trafficking, they work with the homeless, they work with all kinds of things. And these are people that are helped because there's donations given voluntarily. You're going to kill charities if you take away those donations. These taxes destroy jobs, businesses. I call it legalized theft. And right now, we're in the middle of this class warfare. Oh, it's everybody else against the millionaires, the ones with the corporate jets. And it's just like this class warfare that goes on, which is insidious. And it's really the politics of envy and greed is what it is. You know, what is going on in Washington is trying to play one person against another. And jealousy is where I really wish I had those glasses. You know, will you give me those glasses? No, don't do it. I wish you would give them to me. But envy is, I want those glasses. And if you don't give me those glasses, I'm going to take them. And if I can't have them, I'm going to smash them. And that's exactly this class warfare. Smash the the small business owner, smashed the people who produce the jobs because they're greedy. It is warfare, class warfare, that is so unethical and so harmful to the economy. We have a national problem, and California is the worst. As your congressman, if I get elected, I will be an advocate for this district. We are in a crisis in this district. We need to bring in aerospace jobs. We're the aerospace capital of the world. And yet, companies that are coming up with new innovations in aero technology, new planes, new developments. There's one company right now up in the Northern District, and they're moving to Texas. They're not staying here. Northrop, is it Northrop, John? Manufacture, but the things they manufacture are shipped in from Texas because they can't produce them here in California. I have somebody I met just the other day who's got a factory. Because of the government regulations in California, he can't expand. So you know what he did? He's opening up hundreds of jobs in Mexico and in Texas. Not here. I have a 7-point plan to bring aerospace to this district. And in that 7-point plan, it includes the massive cleanup of outer space that has to take place. It includes private companies investing millions and millions of dollars in private space exploration. Everything is here for that, except they don't want to be here. The brain, the infrastructure is there, but we are such a bad state. I want to be an advocate. We're seeing with the port. The port is in danger. You hear about, oh, it's such a great port thing, and it's going to prosper and grow and continue to grow. Yeah. Okay, the independent truckers are out of business. Vancouver is opening up with a train. Panama is opening up, and it's not competitive. Casual longshoremen who should be working are out of work. We're in a crisis where people are leaving this port and going to leave this port. And why? We're the 48th worst individual income tax state, the 49th worst bond burden state, the 49th worst cost of business, the 49th and worst business friendliness, the 49th and the worst tax rate, the 50th worst sales tax percentage, the 50th worst in gasoline, 50th worst in utility tax, 50th worst in school partial tax, 50th worst in bond rating, 50th worst in capital gains. The chief executive magazine, for 7 years in a row, said we're dead last for anybody to build a company. Dead last. In fact, they said we're number 51 because this year they added Washington, D.C. And they're better than us. Carl's Jr. moving its headquarters out of California. Hundreds and hundreds of companies. Instead of building here and expanding here, leaving. So I will be an advocate in this district for change because we've got to have a fighter for change in this district. Tax Freedom Day is April 16th. That's the day you keep 100% of your income. The rest of the days you're working for the government. You add in regulation, it's August 27th. And what about this idea of taxing? You know, Janice Hahn says, well, we just got to tax those wealthy people and we'll solve our problems. Fantasy economics. It doesn't make any sense. Questions I think? Fantasy economics. Those who make $500,000 a year pay $256 billion in taxes. Those who are making $500,000 or more, if they paid 100%, the government would get $1 trillion. But the 2011 annual deficit was $1.6 trillion. That means $600 billion still in deficit. If you taxed everybody $500,000 or more 100%, and you would kill our economy. You would kill the free enterprise system. You would kill small business. You would kill new innovation. You can't solve the problem with taxes. What we do know from history is that when John Kennedy lowered the tax rate, the economy boomed and the government got more revenue. What we know from Ronald Reagan is when he lowered the tax rate, the economy boomed and more revenue came in. What about Bush? Bush made too many mistakes. Oh, but he lowered the tax. Yeah.
And we didn't. And we
no. We'll get into that, or you can ask the question.
When they taxed the higher government,
okay.
It passed on to us.
Okay. So there are some solutions. We need to lower the corporate tax rate from 35 to 20%. We need to have the tax. You know, my opponent keeps saying, "Well, tax those overseas." Why are they overseas? Because it's a lower tax rate. They're hiding and running from the taxes here. Because we have the highest corporate tax rate in the world. Every other country knows you lower the tax rate, businesses boom, and you have more revenue. Now, with this lowering of the tax rate, if we lowered the tax rate on foreign earnings, $3 trillion, $3 trillion has a possibility of coming into the United States with millions of money coming into generating jobs. You've got to leave the 401 and retirement savings alone. You've got to stop the death tax. You've got to simplify the tax code. You've got to cut out these crazy loopholes that exist. The fifth thing is stopping out-of-control regulatory agencies. Too many regulatory agencies are killing business. Now, most people don't know anything about these regulatory agencies, and they don't care anything about these regulatory agencies. But in the last 3 years, we have had the most aggressive assault by lawyers with unlimited time and unlimited money, destroying companies, retarding growth, and trying to stop the economic system. And I've had clients all over who have had government coming in saying they can't do something. You've heard of the Bureau of Labor Standards. We've got a National Labor Relations Board, right? Yeah. National Labor Relations Board. Here's an out-of-control agency that expands beyond it. You probably heard how in Seattle they told Boeing they can't manufacture in South Carolina. You may have heard with the EPA, the Democrats are completely upset because the EPA has broken its promise, put on a program that's going to kill over 7,000 jobs in West Virginia and spike 30 or 40% the electrical rates. You've got a situation with the Federal Trade Commission, one of the worst attacks on businesses ever by these out-of-control lawyers, even to the extent of saying that things like Tony the Tiger can't be on a box of cereal. I mean, it's so out of control. You've got the Federal Communications Commission going after talk radio, going after nonprofit radio, going after Christian radio, trying to censor these type of stations. And then you've got the Security and Exchange Commission and other regulatory agencies that are stopping companies that basically are new startup companies, making the barrier of entry almost impossible to start new public companies. The sixth thing is we need to reform the bloated, unfair government employee pensions. Now, when I say this, I'm not talking about the average teacher. I'm not talking about the average, certainly not the union, normal union member. I'm talking about those elite few who have taken advantage of the government unions to earn themselves an exorbitant pension that is unsustainable. In the federal government, we have federal employees who are normally making $101,000 base, but they're also getting about 40% benefit package. President Obama's 454 aides, for instance, average at $81,000. The government wants to hire 15,000 more federal workers this year. And here's the thing. Even in California, we've got 2.25 million government employees at all levels, but they're often paid twice the amount of a private sector job. Today, it's better for a mother to say, not to go become a doctor, don't get into business, It's better to become a government employee.